Hello, my name is Pablo Arias with International Relocation Partner, and today I have with me Sarah Elena, interviewing different expats and interviewing people from the community. But I also wanted to bring people like Sarah that is always helping the expat community. And I wanna introduce her as an expat expert, a 360-degree expat because she's been living here for a long time. She's got her business. She also has experience with her own property. She purchased property. She's doing building, and many other different things. And I know many expats within the community have questions about this. But most important, I do believe her services are very useful to the expat community. Sarah, can you say hi and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey guys. My name's Sarah Elena. I've been living here in Costa Rica for almost 7 years now. It's been a good go of it. We're absolutely loving it. I have a daughter. She was born here. Right now, we live near Jaco, but I've lived, down in the southern zone, Central Pacific, even outside of San Jose for some time. So I absolutely love the country, and thank you for having me here. And I'm happy to share any knowledge that I can.
The main reason we have here, and thank you, I really appreciate your time. I know you're very, very busy. We have worked in the past in different with different customers. We help them basically before they move to Costa Rica. They need to move their things. Sometimes they need to ship their vehicle, or they need to import their household goods, and that's basically what we do. But after being in this industry and helping expats for over a decade, I do realize, and talking to you and talking to other expats, I do realize there are just there are many things that the expat has to consider before they move. What we do is logistics and shipping, and that alone, that's very complicated. This is a million things. But on top of that, just to summarize a few, you have to think about the immigration part. You have to think about if you're going to buy or rent, and so the real estate or the housing. You have to think about the school. There are many different things, and what you offer as a service, the guidance of helping somebody going through these decisions and educating your customers, I think is super useful, and it's something that people need to consider because a lot of people, and I do believe a lot of people think this is easy. This is something like I'm just gonna sell my house and I'm just gonna start all over in Jaco or Tamarindo, and it's not that easy. And having your assistance is gonna help a lot. Can you tell me about these different stress situations that expat goes through?
Sure. I mean, I guess I could, if it would be helpful, I can discuss like some of the other major and minor, logistics that we see when people are moving and things. Maybe this will help bring up a topic of things that people should consider if they're watching this and considering moving. So yeah, it's shipping is just, I know it's such a big complicated part, but it's a very small part of usually what someone's going through. Usually we work with someone, sometimes they'll know what area they want to be in. They've already come down, they have an idea, or they've just researched a lot. They already roughly know where they want to start, but a lot of times they don't. It's they're like, well, I don't know where do I live in Costa Rica. So a big part of that's the number one thing. Well, that's the first thing that the first step that I would help someone with. They don't know where they want to be. I think that's very important. So that might be coming down on a scouting trip, which we've helped with those. But other times there's situations where people just aren't able to come down, or maybe they come down a very long time ago. They're not going to be able to make that other trip down before their move. And so it's just helping them determining at least that area that's going to be a good fit for them to start. So, if you show up in the wrong area of Costa Rica for you, you could have a totally different experience. Whereas if you show in one that's a pretty good fit, then your experience is going to be a lot different. So a lot of things to consider are, the climate, the overall community, the cost of living, like distance to the airport, distance to certain types of medical, schools. It's not the only determining factor of a family that might move here and is choosing a private school, but it can be if they have three places they're looking at, but this is the school, it might sway them to that particular location in that region. So yeah, that's just at least choosing the area. I think that's very important. At least getting as close as you can to something that would be a good fit, or just somewhere where you know that you're going to have your needs met. Those are important. You don't want to be like I did when I first moved here, 30 minutes walking up a mountain, nowhere near a store. You might see a cool place on Airbnb and go, that's amazing. But if you're not going to have a car, that's a huge thing to consider. Having the ease to get to what you need. So areas is really important. Rentals, I always do highly recommend renting before you purchase. Some people, of course, just go ahead and purchase anyways. It's your life, free will, do what you want to do. But I do suggest definitely renting before you buy, like actually going to really live in that area or maybe close to that particular neighborhood that you would even be looking in, to make sure that it really does have everything that you need. If months down the line a year down the line, you're still happy with that area. Because if anyone's known me, I've moved around so many times. And it's not because I haven't liked any areas. I've liked to experience different areas to learn more about what I like here in the country. So that can be important as well. So yeah, areas, rentals, long-term rental search, that can be really stressful. That's one of our biggest logistics that we work on with people. Probably the most complicated and delicate process of our business is finding long-term rentals. And then, of course, there's the packing, advising people what you can bring, what you shouldn't bring. No, you don't need your rice cooker. Yes, bring the Vitamix. Like talking to them and helping them figure out what is easily and readily available here in the country. So if they are selling 30 years of a house that they've already lived in, or if they're trying to figure out what they're actually packing themselves down to, helping consult on that of saying, yes, this item is good. No, this one won't hold up, or maybe not the best idea for Costa Rica. And shipping always goes to you guys, but I like to ask them questions to figure out, do you even need to ship anything? And if it turns out, yes, that will be the process, or that's a good idea, then I'll send them your way.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but oftentimes I go into a conference call. You send me a customer like, hey, you need to talk to if you need to ship something, you have questions about customs, talk to Paulo, talk to our company. Oftentimes I go into a conference call and it's like, you don't need me. What you need to do is you have to pay the extra luggage. Many people do not need international shipping. This is not for everybody. And it's the same thing along, everything you wanted to do abroad in Costa Rica or whatever you may moving, you just have to really understand your surroundings, see what's a good fit, and what you guys do is excellent. And I cannot imagine myself going through the entire explanation of all of the different things and flavors and places people could moving to. And people there to think, Costa Rica is so small and it's just like going to be the same everywhere, but it's not.
Every town is so different. People say, oh, well, what's this town like in comparison to this one? And I'm like, I don't know. It's so different. Everything really is so different. And with the shipping, yeah, a lot of people will think, oh, well, I just want to ship a box of just, my random odds and ends. And, that's when we'll be like, well, actually shipping isn't just an easy send it away process. So I definitely like people to think twice on that and make sure that it is the right fit for them. Yeah, bringing pets, that's a fun one. if your animal's going in cabin, you're good to go. But cargo's been a real interesting, fun thing to figure out lately. So yeah, bringing pets, budgeting. Budgeting is important. Sometimes a budget can affect an area that you're going to live in. So we work with people on their budget to figure out, okay, what are your biggest expenses going to be? If we don't know that expense, let's get a quote. Let's find out what these expenses are to help you make that decision on if that area is going to work for you, or if a better area might work, or just so there's no unpleasant surprises after you get here with your budget of going, you hear online, oh, Costa Rica is so expensive, but in some ways, yes, in some ways, no. So it definitely has a good balance.
Be able to understand, you live now in this big city, or you may be living in the country, really away from a main city. But setting the expectation, if you're going to be living in Jacó or Dominical, or maybe in Central Valley in Escazú, or Grecia or Atenas, there are many different places, different flavors, and I think it's important to talk to an expert, talk to somebody that can guide you through. I know some people may want to be a little bit more, they want to do it themselves, they want to explore themselves, and that's okay too. But having somebody who can walk you through this process could save you a lot of time, a lot of money, could help you set the expectations. So it's a huge assistance. It's a huge help. Now, what ways? And I know you do it different ways, but I'll let you explain. How do you help your customers? What is your process? What are the different channels that you can help them when they're moving into Costa Rica?
Yeah, so this is our process as of today, August 26, 2022, because I feel like our process has developed so much since we started, because it develops with the client. Like, it's always based off of, it develops in working with people of, oh, this will be something that'll help them more, or let's do things this way. So what we've pretty much narrowed it down to is, whenever we start working with someone, well, we have an online portal with a ton of supplementary materials that they can always have at their disposal. And then we have our kickoff call. During our kickoff call, we go through each of one of these major logistics, which I'll list off, and we create what I call their roadmap. So we look at where they're at in that moment, when are they trying to move, and what's going to happen each month leading up to that move in terms of entry, residency, areas, rentals, packing, shipping, bringing pets, budgeting, banking, insurance, medical, car purchase, car rental. So we map out month to month what happens with each major logistic, like what are we doing on our end for them, like the rental search, or doing medical research or prescription research. And and then, what they need to do. Okay, you need to get this bank card because this is going to work very well from your home country in this country. So they have little tasks. They can see what we're working on. We know where they're at. And then if anything changes, we can always go back and go, okay, well, you're going to come 3 months earlier. Okay, we need to move some things around. Or so it's nice to actually have that roadmap, because people are usually, oh my gosh, I'm moving, but I know I have to do things, but I don't really know what to do and when. So by the end of that call, we have a plan of what to do and when. We always have what I call minor logistics, so like little research. So calling schools, or what particular kids' extracurriculars in a town. So things that are maybe more specific to that person, maybe a particular hobby that they like to do. I have someone who likes to do martial arts. Do they have martial arts in this town? So we'll do research as well and find them different things, maybe in the area, or just collecting information. If there's something we don't know, we find it out. Either we'll ask the right professional, the professional who would know, or we'll do the research to find out the information, because there's endless things to know. And then, we actually have weekly meetings for our clients. So for me, community is really important. We meet once a week on Zoom. So it's actually a really great environment. So a lot of them have showed up like already having a friend group essentially, and have met in person. And, there's still people coming to one area and everyone's excited. Okay, your move's happening next week. This is amazing. Or, then they'll move. And then the week later, they're in the weekly meeting and we get to hear all about how their process went and how's it going. So it's kind of like a little support group, because I know, someone I talk to people who are moving every day, but if someone's thinking about moving to Costa Rica, they might be the only person they know who's thinking this, and everyone else might think they're crazy. So it's kind of nice. I like to have that cohesiveness and that group support. So we have the weekly meetings. Once we get 2 months or more from their move date, we start on their long-term rental search, which I know was a pretty delicate process, but we look at their parameters. We start sending them options that would be a potential match as to what they asked for. We go back and forth with the owner. We negotiate. We can see if the price is okay, it's good for the market. We know, oh, no, this is overpriced, or this is a really good deal. So we do that process with them. And then when they're about to arrive, we have our pre-arrival meeting. So we'll collect how much bags they're bringing, their luggage, schedule someone to pick them up at the airport, bring them to their
let
home.
me stop you. Let me stop you for a minute, because I think I have a good question here.
Yeah.
Because you help with the rental, but you are not, or your team, because I know you have a team. You guys are not real estate agents. You help, with all of this part. But my understanding is you are not a real estate agent, but you work either with the owners or real estate agents to coordinate all this. So it's not like you're getting a commission, or is it?
That's correct. I'm not a real estate agent. I have no desire to be one. I think they're wonderful what they do, but I already have so much on my plate. That would be a whole nother business. So I love to refer to real estate agents in my network that I trust, that can say, okay, this person's going to have a good experience. It's a reputable contact. But we don't collect any commissions from these rentals. So if someone's going, what is that? If you go online and say, I'm looking for a rental, someone might pop up and say, oh, I'll help you find something. They might be getting $100 of your rent. They might be getting your entire deposit, like for connecting you with that owner. And that usually ends up raising the prices for people. So we don't accept any commissions from owners or property managers. Property managers actually love working with us because they don't have to give us a commission. So that actually works out. So a lot of times, if it might come down to someone else wants the same rental as one of our clients, they're more likely to give it to us because they don't have to share any of their cost out of it. You know what I mean? So that's a benefit.
This is what I wanted to come out, and I know this, like, by talking to you and working with you for a couple of years now. I don't know how long, but for a while now. I noticed the way you work, how transparent you work, and the intention is help the customer, like help that person who is looking to move to Costa Rica. Over the years, I experienced myself people moving to Costa Rica, and 6 months later, 2 years later, they decided to leave because it was not it didn't meet their expectations, so they have a bad experience. Things like that happen, and I think many people could avoid that experience if they just talk to somebody like you, somebody that can help them, guide them through. Very transparent. Now, one last thing, we haven't talked about your events, because I know you do a couple of events a year. Can you share us a little bit about that?
Yes. So we did just finish our third expat retreat. I don't have any future dates planned. I'm going to take a little break and then see what comes next. Well, we'll see. You've been to all three events. You see, it's a lot of people, and it's not the main thing that we do, So if anyone wants to know what the expat retreat was, you can check it out on my website. Pretty much everyone, we gather for a week at a resort. We have all these different amazing speakers come. Pablo comes, our residency guy comes, insurance. We talk about all these different topics within a week, which is a lot to fit into a week. But we have seminars typically in the morning, and then in the afternoon we're doing activities like horseback riding on the beach, surfing, zip lining, ATV. We go to Manuel Antonio. We go down to Dominical, like just to spend the day in Dominical. I wanted people to also see the towns. We go to Jaco. I just kind of let everyone loose, go explore the town, walk around, like be in Costa Rica. And I think the most beautiful thing out of it, like, of course, the information's great, the activities are fun. It's been like the camaraderie that people have developed through that week together and sharing this interest of moving to Costa Rica. And that's been so much of the feedback that I've gotten of like, this has been amazing that I've been with this whole group of people with the same interests, meeting in person, dining together, doing these things together, making these hopefully lifelong friendships. And it's been beautiful. So I will plan them at some point, but I am not mentally ready to even look at dates for another one right now.
Maybe 2023 or
Check the
2024.
website.
We don't
It's
know.
definitely
We don't
2023. It
know.
won't be in 2022.
What would be the best way? Best way to reach you?
Oh, the best way to reach me is through my email. So Sarah at lasarelena.com. Honestly, when it comes to Facebook, I'm not the best with Facebook. I know I need to get better. Like, I'm on Facebook, but email. I'm pretty old school. If you email me, you will get a quick response. Also, I do have a booking link on my website. If that booking link ever looks too full, or you're like, I can't get another appointment for another month, email me. Like, I can probably fit you in that week. I'm trying to open up more booking slots, but we do have a lot of, I have people that are booking calls a lot. But I'm very flexible. If you email me and say, hey, I'd really love to talk to you about the week, I can usually fit something in. I can definitely fit
Excellent.
something in, prior to a month. So email, it's great.
Excellent. So one last thing before we finish, if you were to give one single advice to somebody that is looking to Costa Rica, out of all of the things just give me just one. What would be the thing you say? Well, if somebody has to know something, this is it.
Oh, it's so hard. Don't expect to find closets very often in Costa Rica. I'm just kidding.
Don't expect to find. Well, that's true.
I'm joking. If anyone who knows me knows, I'm like, why are there no closets here? Most of the time, but no, just kidding. Oh, that's so hard. Okay, I guess I have an advice.
Go ahead.
Not minimizing your expectations, but try to let some of your expectations go and just like be open to the experience that you're going to have in moving and the people, and kind of just see what happens in a way. Like, obviously, like, I'm the planner. I'm an organized planning person for sure. But I think part of life, you also just need to be open and see how things can come through for you. And if you're so rigid, you might have a harder time here. You need to be patient for sure. And just know that no matter what happens, if you end up staying here the rest of your life, or if it's just a year or two, you've changed and grown through that experience of pushing yourself out of that comfort level. So even if you end up moving and not staying, like, you've done a huge thing for yourself, and you should be proud of that regardless. And that, moving to another country is be proud of that.
Excellent. But this is our time. The last one thing I wanted to share your YouTube channel. It will be in our link below. And here you go. So look for Sarah Elena in YouTube. She's got lots of content. I don't know how many videos, is it hundreds? But she's got a lot. I mean,
Working on it.
I once started counting, and I just stopped when I got to like 50 something. See, it was too many. But anyway, thank you very much, and thank you. This is it. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you for having me.